Buzzworthy Radio is on. The entertainment show that gets you up close and personal with today's hottest stars. Here's your host, Nabel J. Lee.
Hey guys, it's Nabel J. Lee and welcome into a new Buzzcast here at Buzzworthy Radio. I had the chance to sit down and speak with Paul Wesley. He stars in the hit CW series, The Vampire Diaries. We also had the chance to talk to him in reference to the movie that he's starring in called Amira Sam. He plays the role of Charlie, and that's going to be premiering in select theaters on Friday, January 30th. This coming Thursday, January 22nd, will be his second episode that he directed for The Vampire Diaries called Woke Up With a Monster. His first episode that he did was last season called Resident Evil. We talked to him about that as well. All that and much more with Paul Wesley. Check it out. Thank you so much for taking time out and speaking with us today.
Of course. Yeah.
I did watch. First of all, for those of you who don't know who this is, shame on y'all. This is Paul Wesley, and you may recognize him on this little show called The Vampire Diaries. I have absolutely no idea what the show is called. And of course I'm kidding. I know what the show is, but I'm just, But you actually did a part in the movie, which I took a look at a few nights ago, which was very, very, very well done, called Amira Sam, which, by the way, I believe you're in New York you're making an appearance to talk about the movie at the Apple Store in Soho tonight. And your character, Charlie, he's pretty much... Can we say he's like somewhat of a Wolf of Wall Street kind of guy? Can we say that?
Yeah. Yeah, I would think. Yeah, he's definitely money is on his mind. You know what I mean? And moral ambiguity is something he has in common with DiCaprio's character, I suppose.
Yeah, it's a totally interesting film because, as they say, most films when they deal with this kind of topic with war veterans coming back home, you more or less see them dealing with PTSD, whereas in this one you really don't see that. It's more or less the opposite. And
yeah, exactly.
I think that was really one of the things that intrigued me about this whole thing was especially in the one part where it was the fight scene between your character and Martin Starr's character of Sam, where that huge fight scene there, and even before that, when everybody was just basically showing so much distaste and prejudice against Amira, it was telling because a part of me felt like there are people out there that are like that. You see people like that.
He set it up post 9/11 as well, which was kind of like, there was this huge sort of negative reaction towards, certain types of individuals, and I think that sort of played into it as well.
Yeah, I heard that the director of this film, Sean Mullen, it was very personal with him, as you just said.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to speak for Sean, but I've done enough interviews with Sean where I've heard him sort of say that, he was sort of stationed at the World Trade Center right after the towers fell. So he was a rescuer, and so I think a lot of his inspiration for the screenplay came from being in New York during that time and seeing kind of things, how the city was changing. And then I think, he was sort of down there in Wall Street. And so I think he thought he would incorporate Wall Street into the story as well. And, I don't want, but again, I don't want to speak for him, but yeah, I think that was a big part of it for him as well.
What intrigued you to do this part in this film?
Well, I always look for me, it's not, if I'm on a show for an extended period of time, to try to look for characters that are the opposite of what you play on a daily basis. And the character was, it took us, first of all, it's a grounded film. It takes place, there's nothing supernatural about it, which was nice.
Right.
But, my character's, he's a guy, he's married, he's got a baby on the way, he's a professional, he's successful, he was a Wall Street guy, for me, it was like, it's nice to play an adult, I even though my character is adult on Vampire Diaries, he's 160 years old. At the same time, he's kind of a child, He's sort of has a child. He has sort of like child-like sort of issues and ambitions, and so for me, it was like playing this adult character was. I'm 32, I'm not a young kid anymore, and so it was just it was a breath of fresh air. And also, he's again morally ambiguous, and so he was, he is like he's doing some things that are really questionable, and
right.
That's always very interesting for any actor. Actors love to sort of. I hate to use this word, but sink their teeth into those types of characters.
They want to bite into something that's new for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Those puns are coming right out. But first of all, 32. You made 32 sound like it was old age, and
but I mean, for being on it's not. It's that, but it's just for being on a CW show where 2 years ago I think I was sitting in a classroom, a high school classroom. It's like I think it was just nice to play a character that was certainly nothing like that.
I think it's interesting too for listening to a lot of actors. They want to try different roles that they've been playing for a certain amount of time, for a long period of time, and you don't want to feel like you're going to be typecast into something and that's all they're going to see you in. So
it's really important, to be aware of that,
And it's really cool to hear that you want to try something different, that you want to see what else you can do outside of what you're doing now, but still able to do what you're doing now. And it's kind
Absolutely.
it's kind of segueing into my next point, because ironically, this chat that we're doing right now is coinciding with the episode coming up this Thursday. Is your second episode that you directed on the Vampire Diaries. Your first one was last season. Resident Evil, and Woke Up with a Monster. I watched the trailer. Oh my God! Can you please direct more episodes? Because that 1 minute. If you haven't seen it, it is on YouTube, and it will be posted on my website once this goes up. But the trailer alone was just absolutely breathtaking. That was amazing.
Oh, thanks. I should say that in that trailer, there are clips, obviously, from my episode, but there's also some clips from other episodes that I didn't direct. So I can't take full credit for it, but I will say that I'm incredibly proud of it, and I think that the audience, viewers, will really, really, really love it. It's a very entertaining episode, and the last 3 to 4 minutes of it are incredibly intense, and I know it's going to end with a bang, and people are going to be pretty knocked out by the last sort of frame, and I hope that it affects people as much as I think it will. Everyone I've shown it to has really been had an extremely positive response, including Julie Plec in the studio and the network, and they just they all just loved it. So and then I'm hoping to do it a bunch more because I really enjoyed it so much.
What have you taken from when you first directed last season up until now? Because I know that I guess it was kind of weird to go behind the camera in that director's chair and trying to do all of this, and now doing it again. I'm sure it's a lot easier for you now. So
it was. I definitely there was definitely a comfort level that I experienced this time around that I did last time. It was. I definitely felt more. I kind of knew what to. I mean, I've been doing television for 15 years, and so I knew. I've always been interested in directing. It wasn't just some arbitrary thing. I've always wanted to be a director. I knew I would. It was just a matter of time. And but having done it for the first time last year, I really this time around I had a game plan, but my biggest game plan was to not have a game plan. Because last year I had plans, I had all these ideas, and the minute something inevitably sort of goes awry, you sort of go, oh my God, what? You sort of start to panic. But I think the key to being a director is to leave a little bit of mystery and not know what's going to happen in the moment.
Right.
And when some factors thrown in that you don't foresee, to roll with the punches. And I had a much easier time of doing this go around, and it really paid off, I think.
That's awesome. I can't wait to see this episode for sure. And
I hope I'm not hyping it up too much.
You're allowed. You're allowed here. This is all about you. Pump up anything that you would like. And you, as you mentioned, you've been a part of this business for 15 plus years. And I'm gonna go back a little bit, because when I first saw you on television, I saw you on a little soap opera I watched every day.
Which one?
Yeah, Guiding Light, man.
Because I did too. Oh yeah,
I know
that
you
one.
you did Another World too, but I did not know you were on that one until years later. But because at that time I really wasn't into it towards the end, so I didn't really get to see you there. And then I saw you hit up that town of Springfield on that show. And
that was that was like my education, being on that show. Like, people go to college or whatever, acting. It's like, for me, it was like being on The Guiding Light for 3 years. It was like that was like, where I was trying to figure myself out as an actor and learn lines and be professional. So funny, and it's funny how many people from that series went on to be really successful, particularly people that I had storylines with. Like, my girlfriend was Brittany Snow for years.
Brittany Snow, Tammy Blanchard, yeah.
Tammy Blanchard won like an Emmy, like for some other, I forget what. But point being, it's just like, it's kind of crazy how, like, a lot of these actors have gone on to sort of do these great things, which, it's interesting. Some people don't make the transition from soap operas, and some do.
Right. And it's so funny because when I was saying that I was chatting with you today, there was like people going like, "I hope you mentioned Guiding Light to him." I was like, that was already in my list.
That's so funny. I haven't talked about that show in years, actually. I don't get a lot of questions about it.
I don't know if people remember you from that point.
Oh yeah, I guess not.
If they did, as you said, they probably wouldn't mention it. But I'm kind of like, yeah, I knew that guy. I watched him back then. So when the Vampire Diaries started, I was like, yeah, I watched him back when Guy. Like, that's awesome that he's got the show. So
that's funny. And I also went by a different last name then. I was Wasilewski, right? Which is like,
I couldn't even pronounce your name. I remember that name now that you said that, because I forgot that. Yeah. And I was like, I could not say your name, and I wasn't going to attempt to. So thank you for officially making your
there you
easier.
Go. Yeah, exactly.
And speaking of people coming in, we had some people mention that. We have all these people coming in on Twitter. Cassie and Maria Fan and the Stereoline team always asking about Stereoline. They want to know about what's going on between Stefan and Caroline. That's all I'm hearing is like, what's going on?
So you just be patient. Patience will be rewarded. That's all I can say.
All right, that pretty much answers the question. That's all we can say right now. Is just you got to wait and see what's happening. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this one comes from Tamjon Fan. They were like, if you were to write for the show, what would you want to see for your character? Like, basically, what would you like to see for Stefan?
Well, I love it when, if I were to write, I think I would just maybe take away all the supernatural elements from the show, except for maybe 2 or 3 characters. That way it's more of a mystery, and I would keep the moral ambiguity. Again, using that word a lot. It's just like I would keep that, because I think that my character is most interesting when he's doing questionable things. I think when Stefan's flawed, he's really the most appealing when he sort of goes to his dark side.
Very interesting. There you go, Tamjon Fan. And I want to mention this too, because I saw this the other day. I guess this is the redo or the relaunch. I guess is the best word for it, for your cat tea.
Oh, yeah. I do a lot of work with the Humane Society. I really, I really love what they do. I'm super anti sort of factory farming. That's particularly what I try to stand up for, and I'm raising funds particularly for that. So I thought I would do something stupid and funny, and that's what came out of it.
If you want to take a look, if you want to take a look at the tea, it's at represent.com/Paul. So basically, it's the slogan: "Oh, you don't like cats, GFY." So
yeah, there you go.
If they're in New York tonight at 5:00, make sure you hit up the Apple Store in Soho, because that's where you will be.
I will be there.
You will be there for a Q&A about this film, Amira Sam, which will be released in select theaters on January 30th. Make sure you guys check it out. I watched it. I love this movie, and hopefully you guys will too. And, of course, this guy's starring in it, so course it's going to be good. So make sure you guys check that out. And also